you for joining me today. I'm going to be drawing a cicada. Cicadas are disgusting. At least I thought they were. Drawing them for a little bit of time, I got to get familiar with them and we got to bond. No, I'm kidding, but when you study something, it's like the familiarity actually takes away the fear of it. Exposure therapy must be a thing. Anyways, I chose the cicada because I wanted to share a special story with everybody and enjoy the video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wherever anyone watching this may be, I hope you're having a good day. So, I'm going to start out by describing what my art process is here. What I'm doing is I'm starting out with line art with a mechanical lead pencil. The reason why I use a lead pencil over a graphite pencil is because I don't have to sharpen it, and also the tip is a lot finer, so I can do like the tiny little details like the veiny wings. You can see that I'm using the cicada as a reference in my hand, on my right hand. So I finished up the line art and I'm gonna get started painting it with gouache. This is my first or second time using gouache. I'm not a painter. I mostly use digital art, and I find that when you use traditional art, you have to kind of develop a skill of where the paintbrush strokes lie on the paper, and also the quality of the paintbrush matters so much. When I'm starting out, the base layer, it ended up being really splotchy and messy and not clean until the very end. I used, I think, a very non-traditional way of like mushing up a dry brush on the finished base layer to create shading. I feel like that is more oil paint than gouache, but who knows. Anyways, a good paintbrush goes a long way. Alright, so the reason why I chose a cicada is because it holds a lot of meaning to me, a lot of spiritual impact on me. I found it by chance when I was with my baby toddler when we were out, and he was pointing at the cicada and it was fluttering on the ground. I tried rolling it above it on its tummy, but it just kind of like passed away on the spot, so I decided to keep it. You know, when I saw that cicada, I felt that there was some significant, like some spiritual like meaning towards it in my life, and I decided to look it up. And the cicada is really special because it lives 17 years underground, 1 to 17 years, and its song is unique, and its purpose is to basically demonstrate that after many years of waiting underground after being birthed, then it is ready to sing its song. And this held a lot of meaning to me because in this point in my life, I had been wanting to do art for a long time, but I didn't have the energy to do it. But it just came right at the perfect moment, and I want to share my testimony or story why the cicada really held so much impact in my life right now. So, how do I describe this? I've been in a very long drought of depression, and it's a really personal thing, but I'm gonna describe the nitty-gritty, gross details of the depression. Basically, I had gone through a lot of rejection. I had gone through being a scapegoat in my family. I had gone through physical abuse before and after pregnancy, and I was in a relationship where I allowed the guy to disrespect me more and more as the years went on until it developed into full physical domestic violence. But even before that, I felt that I had been struggling with this like void or emptiness in my heart, or I would rather describe my soul. I was put on medication for trauma, PTSD, because I was a recent divorcee. I was married when I was 15 years old, and when I came to Canada, I had a bit of a culture shock. But I went in there because I was suffering from health problems like PCOS, endometriosis, inflammation, groggy mind, etc. But they put me on a really strong medication. It was an antipsychotic, which was completely inappropriate for me, and I developed my depression from there. The best way I can say this is that I could feel nothing. My emotions were blunted, and I couldn't actually even grasp an emotion, like not even feel it. It wasn't that it dissipated in a second. It was just I just could not feel it. The world literally turned gray, and on top of that I was experiencing panic attacks. I was experiencing like night terrors. I was anxious, and I was experiencing a lot of like just mind torment. Like all of a sudden, like I had reverted down to a person with autism. It was really difficult for me to think, to write. It was like I became really dumbed down by it, and it was a really hard experience to go through. So I was so sedated by the medication that I wasn't able to feel anything but a really deep void of nothing. And the only nothing made me feel better. Like nothing. I couldn't feel anything. And that's like the fruit of life. Feeling, laughing, crying. Like all those are special. And to lose that is losing something really special. But, right after the incident where I had a concussion, I had a mini stroke, and I lost my ability to translate emotion into my tonality. It was almost like everything I had to feel happiness and joy was stripped away from me little by little. Like everything piled on top of each other just crushed me. Like it absolutely crushed me. I had almost nothing left. No, I had nothing left to hang on to, and I spent my time dissociating, always going out to buy something new, always never being at home, or always constantly cleaning, like addicted to cleaning, addicted to like anything that will get me from sitting still, maybe scrolling on TikTok and stuff like that. And it wasn't until that I really screamed for help from God that I saw my life do a 180, and not even a 180 where I'm just making it up in my mind and like I religiously pray and I go to sleep and then it stops. But it was like waking up from one day to another to every of my prayers being answered, and without ceasing and without ever failing to surprise me. Like things that I've ever lost in my past, financial problems, material things, anything that was really, really special to me just started raining and pouring down. And that's how my relationship started being cultivated with God. It was like worship and singing and dancing was like the only thing that brought me that joy that I was missing, because I was so void of emotion that I could literally feel the pain of just being, of like my soul screaming, like my soul was screaming for something to give me that life back in me. And it was only when I was singing that I felt the presence of God with me, holding me, teaching me, cherishing me, just like a child, like just like when a father holds their child, like lifting me in the spirit, giving me dreams, like just giving me that sense of euphoria, that sense of peace, that sense of understanding that I don't understand, that I don't even understand, and the cicada was really important to me because I had spent so long in my room, depressed, without feeling much at all, that I was telling God one day, I feel like I have screwed everything up. I'm too late. I don't have the willpower to even come up with anything on YouTube. And then he told me through this voice, like, there's this job I want to give you. There's this ministry I called you to. It's to tell stories and share the testimony. And I find that so funny because I came here to Canada after I got divorced, before all of the storm of depression happened, because I wanted to tell stories through my art, but I just didn't know with what. And I was impressed. Like, I didn't come up with that idea, obviously. Like, it just came during like worship, and I feel like, man, it would spread like wildfire. Imagine being an influencer, but being a Christian influencer by sharing testimonies through art. Like, imagine how many people doing that. I can't even fathom it, because I can't, but like, that's a trend to follow. I am honored to do this, and I'm sure everyone else is going to be so mega pleased to come out to hear this idea. So yeah, it was like, I have a story to tell today because of this cicada, and I have so many more to tell in the future, And sometimes, you don't know your purpose in the beginning. Sometimes it takes years for you to grow into yourself, like into your purpose, into your mission, and that's completely normal. Society pressures you to be ready by high school, be ready by graduation, but in reality, like, we didn't come and be born to be the same. We all have different journeys that are being written out. Like, we all have a story to tell sooner or later. But before then, relax, enjoy your day, as mundane as it is, as crazy as it is, as fun as it is, however it comes. This day is the Lord has made, is to enjoy each day, or even just survive each day. But everything has a purpose. Like, I am so excited to share all of the stories that I have to tell, because when you hear it, it's crazy. It's like, there is no way to like deny it. And it's like, if people ask me, why do you believe in God so much? Well, you believe in COVID-19 so much, right? But you don't see it, but you see the results of it, and that's enough to make you wear a mask. It's the same thing with God, and it only starts with faith as small as a mustard seed, for it to start growing into the size of a mountain, and then that mountain's just staring straight in your face. But you know what? Instead of being, that fear of like an unhealthy parent figure, it's more like the fear of awe. Like, when you stare into space, when you look at the space and you see the stars and planets, like, you fear how small you are. You look at it with awe, and it's that same kind of respect that I feel like the creator that made that loves me so much that he even cares to answer all of the tiny things in my heart and give me back my joy, give me back my mission, my purpose. So yeah, the cicada meant a lot to me. This is not the first time that I received like some symbol in the form of an animal. A dead animal, I know, but like I remember the first time is when I was like browsing through taxidermy sets in my room because I've been depressed for so long, and I never like left my bed because I just was so fatigued because I was really sick at the time. And I was browsing through taxidermy, and the one day, because I wasted that whole summer in bed, that one day I finally got up and I went to the back of the building. There was this bird lying on the ground, dead, limp, warm. That means that bird was lying there for no longer than an hour. Like, it was a freshly fallen bird. And I decided to taxidermy it myself, and I did. And I was so excited. The process went so smooth. And when I looked up the species of the bird, that's when the message struck me. It was called a common starling. And like, I couldn't feel more, like, I don't know, like, it was so precious to my heart. It was like him telling me, like, look, you may be one in a billion, but you're still a star. Like, when you look at the stars in the sky, like, none of them outshine the other, and one star doesn't make, just because another star exists doesn't make the other one any less of a star. You're still special enough to have your prayers answered. You're still special enough to be noticed, to be remembered. And I held, like, that's when my journey started. Like, I held on to that idea, and after that I've just been poured down and rained down on with so many gifts. But when I say gifts, it's like things that were so precious to me that I had lost, that I didn't even pray about, that I had lost, but it had to do with like people that I had lost. Like, I ended up finding them. I had ended up being gifted them on random occasions, like puzzle pieces. And it was like God telling me, hey, look, you lost that, but here, this is what I give you. And what I give you is so much greater than anything, any guy, any relationship, any parent figure, any person could ever give you. It's unmatched, it's unbeatable, completely unbeatable. And that's when I started to grow as a person. I started to understand what love was, and I started to understand that I am a child of God, and there is so much that comes in that package that I want to unpack with you guys. So anyways, the drawing is done. I feel very happy about it, and that's my setup. That's how I was drawing out there right behind my building. You don't have to go far to just be able to enjoy the sunshine. Vitamin D is enough. Here's the reference of the cicada. And I'm putting this part without audio because I find it so funny that as I was finishing the cicada after being so like intensely worried that it wasn't gonna go good, like in that moment all of the cicadas were like cheering on, and I was like kind of finding it so cute and funny that all the cicadas were singing in that moment, because they weren't singing at all the whole entire time that I was drawing them. Alright guys, so we have successfully finished the drawing, and I will catch you on the next video.